Well, here we go again. So, it's that time of the year. Disney has another live-action remake for one of their beloved animated films. I'm going to be so honest with everyone right now. If you actually liked this movie and thought there were some good parts to it, you may not want to watch this review because you're probably going to hate me at the end of it. I want to start off by emphasizing something that's really important. You are completely allowed to like this movie. If you thought it was fine, if you thought it was enjoyable, if you thought it was okay, if you thought it was good, if you thought it was perfect, that's perfectly fine. In fact, I'm really jealous of you because you somehow found a way to find enjoyment out of this film when I couldn't. So please remember, what I'm about to say is my opinion and my opinion only. You can agree, you can disagree, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to have a discussion about it in a conversation in the comments, I'd actually love to. So with that being said, I want to also emphasize this. Movies are being judged fairly by me. I'm not going to completely overlook blatantly obvious issues with the film and blame it all one little thing. What do I mean? The typical argument of this movie was made for children, therefore anyone who actually disliked this movie or who's an adult shouldn't complain about it because it was never meant to you. And to that I say, bull fucking shit. I say this all the time online and on this channel, and I will continue to keep saying this. It does not matter what your movie is and what it is made for. If you release a bad film, I'm going to call it a bad film. Now, there are going to be films that I never review because I just personally don't care to watch it, and that's perfectly fine. Like Dogman, maybe I'll watch it on a random weekend if I ever visit some family and it's on in the background. It is perfectly fine to watch a film that wasn't made for you. First off, the movie was made by adults, so what are you talking about? The movie's only made for certain groups of people. Secondly, how do you expect children below the age of 13 to afford and pay for movie tickets? Third, there are plenty of examples of films that are intended for a certain audiences ended up being amazing. All the Paddington movies have amazingly high scores, and they're definitely family-friendly movies. Look at The Iron Giant, the Lego Movie. Those are films that are really well-beloved and are meant for younger audiences. Look at Inside Out 2. It was a really good movie. That's a recent one. And fourth, just because a movie was made for a certain demographic or a certain group of people, that doesn't automatically mean it deserves to be a 10 out of 10. Because why the hell does this only apply to children's movies? Why does this whole, like, it wasn't meant for you, it's supposed to be this stupid and goofy attitude, like arguments, defense mechanism, why does it only apply to children's movies? I really would love to know why it does. So let's move on to this example. The Fast and the Furious movies. I personally like them because they are a lot of fun and they are really dumb. So they are fun, dumb movies, and I pretty much like that. And it's not like, well, at least not all of them are really bad. There are some bad ones, but still, they are dumb, fun movies. Well then, James, you bought the movie ticket, you got what you paid for. It was a dumb, fun movie when you watched the Fast and the Furious movies. So what's the big idea? Why are you saying some of the bad? All of them should be a 10 out of 10, right? Oh, you didn't like this movie when everyone else was supposed to clearly like it? Well, doesn't matter. It wasn't made for you. It was made for people like me. There are so many other channels that say the same thing like what I am trying to say. So again, I ask you, what is the purpose of this argument and why does it only apply to children's movie? How come I can't apply it to every other movie? Oh wait, that's because every other movie in the world would be a 10 out of 10 movie. And I don't do that. So when I went in to watch the live action version of Snow White 2025, I'm not going into this film and giving it reasons for it to be a highly scored film. It has to earn that, and it has to be good. Just because it was made for children, and that's still good, children can enjoy it, and they can have fun. That's perfectly fine, like I said at the beginning of the video, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, this movie was meant for this, and therefore I'm giving it this abnormally high score. No. There are very rare times where I would give a score an extra point or a half a point, because I do like what type of movie it was, but that rarely happens. So now that I've probably bored everyone to death and went on a tangent and everyone clicked off the video, I'm going to just get right into it. And I think it should be known right away. I hated this film so much. There is not one good thing about this film. I kid you not. In my opinion, I think, get ready, I think this is the worst film of 2025, and not only that, I think it is the worst Disney live-action movie Disney has ever released. And I genuinely think after this film, there should be a call for these movies to fucking stop. It is about time that these movies fucking end. They are disrespectful, they're gross, they're awful, they're terrible, they're pointless, and they are only going to look bad and more worse over time. Go ahead and rewatch the live-action Lion King film or the Aladdin film. Look how awful it looks. I really, go look. I can rarely ever recall a time that I enjoyed a live-action remake. I sort of somewhat thought the live-action Lion King remake was just fine. I think it was mid, although after watching it again, oh man, it is really bad, and it's shocking how that film got the amount of money that it did. And that's an important thing to talk about. I might as well talk about it. Disney knows these types of films are going to generate money, whether it's at a negative or a profit. And funny enough, Snow White actually is losing a lot of money. But regardless, Disney doesn't have to do anything when it comes to these types of films. The story, the character, the music, the meanings, the messages, the color and animation, or like the lack thereof, I guess. The main aspects that makes up a film, especially the main ingredients, they're already there and done for. You don't even have to go into the film. You already know what's going to happen. You already know that Mufasa is going to die. You already know that the genie is going to be set free, and you already know that Snow White is going to eat the poisonous apple. So again, I ask, I mean, maybe I didn't ask this, but what is the point of these fucking movies? They don't even do anything new and original, and when they do try to do something new and original, it's for the worse, and it only makes the movie worse. There's so many examples of this happening in Aladdin and the Lion King live-action remakes, for example, and I really recommend watching other channels who review this film, especially YMS. If you really want to know how they truly screwed up the meaning and the, messages they were trying to say, you know, with the old movies, go watch his reviews on those two films, and they do this all the fucking time. It's almost as if they just have a team that just watches these movies and they just say, all right, let's just turn that into a live action remake and let's slightly tweak it because we can't do the exact same thing, or else people's going to be calling us plagiarists, even though that's what we already do, because we're a multi-million-dollar company that likes to take over the world because they have a monopoly on everything and almost everything entertainment wise. It's almost crazy to think that this is the same company that allows Kingdom Hearts to happen. Man, I sure love Disney. I love their old movies. I like Kingdom Hearts, but man, do I fucking hate modern Disney. Before this movie even came out, there was a lot of drama with Rachel, the main girl who's playing Snow White. I don't even want to know her last name not right now, and how she was I guess kind of an asshole on set and during photo ops or whatever. I will say those videos are kind of misleading because it's she was talking about not being paid. Every actor and actress deserves to be paid fairly, so I don't really care about that whole drama with this film. What I do want to talk about is the other main character that they decided to put in this film, Gal Gadot, and I don't even know if that's her name, but holy fuck, Disney. Why is she in this film? I do not understand what it is about this woman and how she is in so many big budget movies. It is almost as if she has dirt on someone and that she is just keeping it and dangling it over some CEO's or executive's head. I just can't even explain it. There's no other way. She is a talentless hack. She has never impressed me whatsoever, and I am baffled by how she is able to keep getting the jobs that she has. Yes, I'm just gonna talk about some things right now, but yeah, she is a horrible, horrible actress. I also just love how Disney is trying so hard to be so inclusive and so LGBTQ pro when they could have had the opportunity to be inclusive and hire 7 short people or little people. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I said the wrong term, but they could have hired the correct people for the dwarves, but no, fuck that shit. Let's just CGI them and let's make them look completely fucking gross and weird. And oh my god, Disney, really? Fucking really? Yeah, that's about it. Let's actually talk about the film. Story is not even anything close to the original Snow White. It strips away so much from the original Snow White. And by the way, I haven't seen the original Snow White in a very long time, and I wasn't able to watch the original before this. I usually do so I can get an idea of how bad they fucked up, but I do remember some core things. So yeah, this story is completely different, and they definitely switched some things around, and it is a really, really, really bad story in general. It's super generic, it's super cheesy, it's super predictable, and it's not like at all good. I have seen 15-minute short films that have a better story than what Disney provided with Snow White. The characters don't even feel like their old original characters from the original Snow White film. Snow White doesn't even act like Snow White. She's supposed to be this innocent little girl that is supposed to be afraid of, like, you know, the forest, for example, and yet the movie just decides to say, fuck that, let's actually make the forest all creepy and spooky. No more interpretation, no more, oh, we're, you know, in with the character and being scared with her. Fuck that. Gal Gadot playing the evil queen, and it's literally what she's called, evil queen. They're gonna even give her a fucking name in this remake. What even is the point? She plays the most generic fucking evil queen ever. Like I mentioned before, it especially doesn't help that this woman cannot act. She couldn't decide on what type of character she was trying to be, whether it was like a cocky kind of evil, or like a seductive type of evil, or like outright obnoxious type of evil. She was just all over the place with her performance. You just don't know anything about this evil queen. All that you know is that she's annoying. It also doesn't help that Gal Gadot just cannot fucking smile at all. There's so many times where her plain face and her smiling face look so similar. Again, how did this woman get a job? Andrew Burnap plays Jonathan, and I'm pretty sure he was in some other films and movies that I saw. I think he was also in The Little Mermaid, which is kind of funny. Either way, he was not that great in this film at all. In fact, it almost didn't even seem like he was important to the film at all. And that's all I'm going to talk about, because honestly, it doesn't even fucking matter. The Seven Dwarfs are the same fucking people, except they're not even people. They're just animated, so yeah. The writing for this film is fucking atrocious. I swear, with the writing and the story, I could not, like, I couldn't care whatsoever about it. It was so boring and so bad. I wanted to fall asleep. I was actually looking around the film, looking at anything else that was so interesting other than the film that was in front of me. Quite literally, counting the dust particles falling from the sky was way more interesting and engaging than this fucking movie. And I wanted to leave so badly. I wanted to leave by the time the Snow White wanted to, like, or Snow White ate the apple. I wanted to leave. I just didn't care, because it was like, what was the point? I just do not care. Let's talk about some animation stuff and some color and lighting. I really want to talk about the lighting, because holy shit, I was so fucking annoyed by the lighting in this film. There are so many times where it does this stupid fucking awful fake lighting effect on everyone, especially the CGI characters. They add this stupid fucking, like, light glow, sun glow around them, and they just look so plastered in. It's so obvious to tell when characters are in a green screen or like a set rather than being actually outside. And you think, for all the money Disney is throwing at these fucking movies, you'd think they'd have a really good set design. But no, let's just put it all in the green screen. Let's just have it all CGI. Speaking of which, look at the fucking poster of this film. It looks like it was AI made anyway. Also, the mirror on the wall, or the magic mirror, that looks like it was fucking AI. It was so badly animated. There's just other scenes where the lighting was just so awful as well. Like, inside the castle just wasn't interesting and wasn't, like, at all, like, spooky at all. The Seven Dwarfs looked like shit. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you should have expected when watching this film. Everything else in this film honestly looked like shit as well. There was nothing that looked pretty. The cave scene was kind of interesting, seeing all the diamonds and the pretty colors, but that only lasted like 30 seconds, and that was really it. The animals really looked really fake. I mean, obviously they're not real, but they didn't even try to be looking realistic. I don't know. It just, like, looked plastered on like a CG effect. Well, speaking of art, let's also talk about these costumes. Holy shit, Snow White's costume is so fucking awful. It looks like a fucking Halloween outfit. I understand they can't literally get the exact same outfit because, well, honestly, animation cannot really transition to, like, live action that well, so they have to do something to, like, compromise this by, like, making an outfit in, like, a realistic, like, version. But it's almost as if the people who was creating these costumes said, fuck it, let's just copy it one for one. Like, let's just put her in a Halloween outfit and make her look so goofy. Like, does it not look so fucking goofy that you have this woman, Rachel, who's 23 years old, and she's in a fucking Snow White outfit? Like, it's like this grown adult in a child's fucking outfit. It just looked so cringe. Why did she get this role? Also, I mentioned it before, but I guess I wanted to, about all the characters and the acting. Rachel didn't do a good job in this film as far as her acting performances, and I feel like I've seen better from her, but she didn't steal the show as far as Gal did. Like, she was the worst actor, but Rachel could have done so much better. Yeah, the box where they were supposed to have Snow White's heart, that was made of plastic, so that was pretty fucking cheap. The music was so forgettable and so generic, and they pretty much, as far as I know from what my girlfriend told me, they skipped out the Wishing Well song, which was a really nice song, and it really is supposed to show who Snow White is as a character. So yeah, fuck you, Disney. And then for the characters who were singing, there is so much auto-tune. Holy shit, I just cracked my voice there. Every single person who was singing a high note, it was so obvious to tell when they were, like, they had auto-tune applied to them. Whoever edited this film needs to be fired, by the way. I want to go back to around the story and the writing and everything around that real quick, because there was a lot of things I got to talk about. In general, the movie just was not funny. I didn't smile, I didn't chuckle, I didn't express any emotion at all. I just wanted to leave, and I hated it so much. There were these guards that served the queen, and they were all fucking clowns because they were getting beat up by these fucking bandits with sticks and slingshots. Like, how pathetic can you fucking be? It's like they were just comically bad. Every time Snow White had a chance to like give some type of character defining speech, it was so generic and not impactful whatsoever. It almost makes you think, what was the point of this? Speaking of Snow White, there's just no fucking chemistry between her and Jonathan at all in this film. In fact, the movie doesn't even give a shit about these two, because there's another couple that the movie apparently cares more about, and I'll get to that later. Snow White is also just an asshole in this film. Like, she doesn't understand people at all. She doesn't understand that Jonathan quite literally saved her life in this film by taking an arrow for her, and then she goes around and talks about as if he doesn't know him and like calls him selfish. It's like, did you not see what he just did? And they even tried to have a fake death scene, which is, again, not funny at all. It's like, wow. There was like nothing surprising about this film. Nothing was like, oh wow, that's a big shock. And really the pacing was all over the place. God, it was like all fast and really all slow for no reason. And one last thing before I get into this about the whole animation. My God, was there so many effects in this film. There are so many times where Rachel's face was so CGI'd and had so many effects on her. It's like, what is even the point of this film? Why put all this effort into this? Why not just animate this film at this point? Like, I swear there was a whole scene where Snow White and Jonathan was dancing, and like, why not just fucking animate this scene? It's so highly edited, it looks probably CGI entirely. What is the point of putting all this effort into this? Just CGI it, just animate it. Also, there's another funny thing that I saw where like the guard put his sword into the ground, and then like literally the next frame he was holding the sword again. Again, whoever edited this film needs to be fired. I went on a really big tangent about the film, and I was kind of all over the place. Usually I like to keep these things like organized. I didn't really do that because there's honestly so much that I want to say. Alright, so here's the part where I tell everyone to skip to this part at the end if you don't want to be spoiled. If you watch the original Snow White, you're probably not going to be surprised that much. But yeah, in case you really don't want to see spoilers, go to this part. So yeah, Snow White, it adds some new context to the story. We got to see some moments with Snow White's parents and how her parents were the king and queen of this kingdom, and everyone's happy. They all eat apple pie, they all sing and dance. One day the mom died, and now the king is bitchless. So he's like, oh, I need a new woman. So the evil queen shows up one day, and she finds a way to take over everything and send all of the men and guards to go on these missions and die for them. Which, by the way, they talk about Snow White's dad, but she clearly doesn't give a fuck about him. Like, she's worried about what happened to him, but she almost forgets about him almost every other scene in the film. But yeah, he's missing and or dead. I don't know, and I don't remember. Yeah, so now the queen is the ruler of everything. She cut the hair of Snow White, so I guess no one could recognize her, but also keep her in like the dungeon to do chores and cleaning, and people just also forgot about who Snow White was, and I guess thought she was dead? People just stopped caring about Snow White, I guess. So then one day there was this thief named Jonathan, and yeah, Jonathan's a thief now. He's not like this guy who wanders in and hears the singing of Snow White and falls in love and everything and starts everything. No, he's just stealing some food, says what's up, and runs away, and he gets caught, but then Snow White pleads for the queen to give mercy on him, and he was tied up at one point, but then he is freed by Snow White. So that happens, and then Jonathan's like, oh, thanks. He runs away, and then Snow White, I guess this is the point where Snow White likes this and falls in love and sings. It doesn't really matter. Afterward, the queen has Snow White go pick some apples into the field because she was talking to her like, hey, queen, you know, this town used to be pretty chill. We used to have apple pies all the time. Maybe we could do that. So she agrees, and she's like, all right, go pick some apples. And then she hires a huntsman to go kill her and have the heart be put in this little box. But the huntsman doesn't do that because he knows that Snow White is so fair and so pure and innocent. He would never do that and tells her to just run away. So she does, and the guard tries to put an apple in the case and tries to fake out the queen, but that doesn't work, and he gets imprisoned. Later, Snow White ends up at the house, and there's no moment where she's like, oh, well, look at this place. There must be children living in here. Let me clean up. She just goes inside and starts fucking sleeping in. And then she gets surprised when, oh, there's people living in here. It's like, yeah, no shit. Also, I guess Disney didn't want to be sexist because, oh, the woman instantly comes into the kitchen or the house and starts doing chores. But it's like she's also supposed to be like that because she's like a very kind and caring person, and she wants to like be nice to everyone and fair to everyone, even though she is like royalty. But who cares about that? The dwarfs come in, and they all of a sudden don't know how to whistle, even though they did in the original film, and it's no subtlety at all in this film. They're not like these like mysterious figures that's come marching in. They're just like, oh, they're pretty chill guys because they're the 7 dwarves. Everyone knows who the 7 dwarves are. They get surprised that Snow White is there, and they befriend her, and they somewhat make this deal. They don't make a deal, but she gets to stay there because of the weather and how the queen's hunting her and everything. She befriends Dopey, and Dopey looks weirdly different than everyone else by a lot in this film. And there was even a moment where I swear they didn't CGI a hand, but they used a real actor's hand to like uncover Snow White, or like there was, I don't know what scene it was, but like there was a scene where it looked like a real hand, not like a CGI hand. Back at the queen, she finds out that Snow White's not dead because she asks a mirror if she's still fair, and Mirror's like, nah, Snow White's still alive, so she's the fairest. So she comes up with this plan to send all like 20 of her guards to go and hunt her and everything. It's like the next day, and then Snow White like cleans up for the dwarves, like they get the backstory, and all the dwarves are brothers, and same old, you know, they all have their personality and they all live by it. I will say these dwarves really don't do anything in this movie at all, by the way, and you'll see soon. It's almost as if they're in this movie because they have to be in this movie, not because they serve a purpose. So yeah, later on, Snow White's like wandering into the forest. I kind of even forgot why. I think she was picking some apples or something, but then Jonathan comes by and they run into each other, and they're being chased by the guards and everything, and they work together to try to chase off the guards, and it's a very lazy and very stupid scene that happens where the guards just get beats up and gets outsmarted by everyone. But Jonathan also takes an arrow for Snow White, so he gets injured and gets taken back to the dwarves, and he gets healed. And this is the scene where they try to fake out his death, and it's like, you're not funny, movie. Of course he's not fucking dead. And they didn't have the scene where they're all chilling. There was like this drama between like the bandits and the dwarves, but that doesn't fucking go anywhere at all. There even is the scene where after they all like made up, they're all friends because Snow White brought them together, you know, the power of friendship, you know, Kingdom Hearts and all that. Snow White meets these random 2 characters who they talk about how much they like each other, and that'll come later in the film. But yeah, it's the following night, and the queen's like, oh shit, nothing's working. Let me go poison Snow White with this apple. And I really hate the scene because it's so fucking cringe, and again, Gal just cannot act to save her fucking life. And there's no subtlety in the scene at all. They clearly make it obvious that this woman is making something evil. This movie loves to hold your hand and treat you like a stupid baby. And yeah, they even show the apple being evil and have the evil face like, oh guys, I think the apple's evil. Almost as if we knew that going into the film. There's no surprise that, oh, the apple is, you know, deadly or it could kill people like in the original film, because Snow White took the apple believing it was pure and innocent. It was just an apple for helping out this old lady. Nope, it's clearly evil. There's no surprise. There's no shock in anything. It's just fucking like lazy. It's lazy. I swear this has to be the laziest live action remake Disney has ever made. So yeah, she doesn't crack her bones or anything. There's no painful transformation. She just turns old, CGI effect. She has the same voice. and manipulates Snow White into eating the apple because she's like, oh, I heard this apple will help you or something about finding her dad. And she basically forces Snow White to eat this apple. And again, it's just hand holding. Like, there's no manipulation at all in this film. There's no like there's no none of that. Like, why? They do this in the live-action Lion King remake where, like, Scar doesn't use his ability to manipulate Simba. They do this in this movie. They just don't give a shit. Yeah, she eats the apple, she dies or something. It doesn't matter. Then, instead of, like, being in a respectful, like, place, you know, the dwarfs, like, instead of, like, building her this coffin or this, like, casket or whatever that's made of all this jewelry and gold, you know, that, you know, because they're miners and they're good at crafting and all this, they just put her on a fucking rock. They put her on a fucking rock. They don't give a shit. This movie is so bad and so lazy. Like, the whole point of her death was to be this beautiful but tragic thing, but they don't give a shit. They put her on a fucking rock. Fuck this movie, by the way. Yeah, Jonathan gets wind of this, or whatever. He was imprisoned earlier because he got caught, and then he escapes by pulling off the chain really, really hard and comes to go save Snow White, but then she's dead, and he has to kiss her, and then now Snow White's up and alive, and she rallies up the whole troops and everything and sings and marches just like in Wish. And, you know, there's a lot of moments in this part of the film where it was just really, really quiet. There was no music, no sound effects at all. It was just quiet. And I really doubt they were trying to be all somber and mysterious. No, the movie was just being lazy again. She confronts the evil witch, and the witch is like, guards, sick her. And she has like 20 guards, and she uses talk no jutsu to, like, persuade the guards into being good again. And they're all like, I remember when it used to be good here. I used to be a farmer, but now I am a soldier. Fucking stupid. But yeah, after one speech, they're all good, and they, like, say, like, hey, no, this evil queen is evil. And at this moment, you really could tell that they just got the evil queen wrong. Like, it's supposed to be a surprise that she's, like, evil and can conjure up these, like, ice wands or ice daggers or whatnot. And, you know, it wasn't pretty obvious that she was very materialistic in the jewels, but they make it very apparent in this one. Yeah, the slingshot guy from earlier, from one of the bandits who talked about how much of a good slingshot he is, saved the day or something. And the two couples from the bandits, those two end up getting married at the end of the film, and they fake us out so hard. It's like, oh, Snow White's gonna get married. Nope. It's these guys. These characters who had literally one line of dialogue. Let's give them a marriage scene. Fuck this movie. Yeah, then the book closed. That's the end of Snow White. There is nothing left to talk about, honestly. I want to take this moment to give or read out Lauren's, my girlfriend's, takes on this film, and I'm gonna read off the things she didn't like about this film. So, Snow White 2015. Cutting the Wishing Well song. Wishing Well is supposed to represent her peace and hope for the future. It also opens the door to her dynamic with animals because it's her only socialization. They reworked the story when she's at the dwarf's house. In the original, she sees a home that looks dirty and abandoned. She realizes it's being lived in and sees 7 tiny beds. She thinks they are orphan children that live there. She's sad because she is also an orphan, but has more than them because she's a princess, and she decides to clean and cook for them, demonstrating the compassion and servitude toward the people. The new version has her just walk into someone's house and just falls asleep. The music was too simple and modern. It would work well in a modern styled musical, but seemed out of place for this period of time. The outfits were great except hers that was costume-like, and I do agree. Like, I mean, honestly, I think all the outfits looked pretty bad, but yeah, Snow White's outfit looked really bad. She doesn't realize her people are in need until someone steals from her home. Like, how do you live in this castle and don't fucking understand what's going on? But man, she must have been so ignorant to what's going on outside. Dwarves don't really show that they have compassion for Snow White. They really don't even act like they're, you know, happy for her, and they demonstrate the care of her. The dwarves are supposed to be intimidating, but they are not. They're supposed to be intimidating by how they protect Snow White as well. Also, the dwarves were, I guess, supposed to be the ones to, like, scare the queen because they were, like, so freakishly looking, and that doesn't happen in this film. She just gets chased into the mirror and disappears, and Snow White looks all awkward, by the way. Oh, yeah, she wasn't in prison. I completely forgot. Yeah, that's how she died. She dies into the magic mirror. Snow White wanting to be caring and protective doesn't make it sexist. Also, are they trying to say that men shouldn't try to guard or protect the people they love? Dwarves, again, were supposed to come off as being scary, almost as if they're the bad guys, but they're actually the good guys. The Queen's transformation is supposed to be scary and painful. It doesn't seem like the actress that plays the Queen knew if she should be scary, crazy, or just evil. The Queen in the new movie came off as just very spoiled and selfish, which goes against the idea of her being fair. It's like, yeah, she's supposed to be like, who's the fairest? And she's supposed to be told you are. And it's like, oh, okay. In this film, it's like, who's the fairest? And the mirror's like, what do you fucking think? It ain't you, bitch. And finally, no one is supposed to know the Queen has magic. But fuck it. They decide to just show that off anyway. So that's what she thought. And, honestly, that's all I really gotta say. I have to emphasize this. Man, 30 minutes. I've been talking about this movie a long-ass time. This movie is just really bad. There is so many bad things about it, and it's really shocking to see how Disney can make these bad films. And I really wish one of these days Disney would just fucking stop and learn. Why even make a live action remake if you're gonna have all these animated scenes and all these edits and all this and that? Just remake the movie with modern 3D animation or upscale 2D animation. I don't fucking know, but that would take too long. Like, you can change some things around and it would still be more simpler than just making a whole live action remake and sinking nearly to $200 to $250 million into this. The first weekend went by and it barely made $50 million. Does this film even expect to make a profit? Who is this movie even made for? Yeah, I'm so tired of these movies. This movie is by far the worst film that has come out in 2025. It is the worst live action Disney has ever made, and maybe one day Snow White will get a better remake. I know there are other versions of Snow White that are better than this film. There are even other movies that are better than this. Dragon Ball Evolution has a higher IMDb score than this piece of shit. But again, I have to emphasize, that's just my opinion. My opinion is this movie's getting a 1 out of 10. Yeah, I mean it. 1 out of 10. Nothing was good about this movie at all. Like, I really want to know what people saw in this film that was good, because I didn't see anything good. So yeah, that's it. Up next is Lilo and Stitch. For those who don't know, I love Lilo and Stitch so much. It's one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. I love Stitch so fucking much. Oh god, they're gonna fuck it up so bad. And then they're gonna fuck up Hercules, which is another favorite of mine. Oh my god. Disney, just stop after Hercules, for the love of God. So yeah, that's my review on Snow White. This was a very long review. It's definitely above average for the type of reviews I make, and I hope everyone likes it. I hope everyone gives it a like, comments, and yeah, subscribe for more, because I watch movies all the time, so there's a chance that I'm going to review a movie you also saw. So why not just subscribe and hear my opinion? Yeah, that was Snow White. Yeah, it was just a burp. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all having an amazing night, an amazing day. Yeah, remember to brush, remember to floss, and yeah, you guys have a nice one.